Good evening, everyone. It's 6 o'clock, July 22nd, 2026. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let's start with roll call, and I'm going to start online because I see Councilmember DeYoung online.
Present.
Perfect. Councilmember Cox?
Present.
Sorry. Councilmember Loy?
Here.
Councilmember Henderson?
Here.
Councilmember Lavaca?
Present.
Councilmember Cox?
Here.
Councilmember Peterson?
Present.
All right. And I am looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion made by Councilman Henderson, seconded by Councilman Lavaca. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Madam
Oh,
Mayor, I
gosh,
motion to approve the consent agenda while pulling item number 6 and placing it under new business.
I also had two questions.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, they're pretty minor, under check.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can whoever speak and
Yeah,
speak
I
into
got
the
it.
mic?
I got it, sorry. Under check register 7395, I just don't know what this is. It says U.S. Bank purchase cards 13,509. Do you know what that is?
That's the city credit card, like all the
Okay.
employees. So then all those list of items are purchases on the city credit card.
I get it. And the other question I had was, and Bill Bullock's not here, but Peter, maybe you can answer. Back in the day when we had committee meetings on, I don't know if Councilman Henderson remembers this, we had discussed, Bill said that in Mount Vernon, they shifted to, instead of the small totes, garbage totes, the little bit bigger ones, because one thing I've noticed is that people with the small ones, they pile it up and the lid doesn't even shut and we get garbage in the streets. Have you guys even thought about something like that, or?
I know it's come up. I'll have to check with Bill and have him get back with you on that.
Okay, thank you very much. That was it for me.
I had a.
Okay.
I don't know if we need to move this out of the consent agenda, but I noticed that the vote on the hazard mitigation plan from our last meeting wasn't in the meeting minutes. Do we need to move that to, in order to make that edit, do we have to move that out of the consent agenda?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
it would, right now, the motion is with that in there.
Okay, so I'd like to make another motion to do what Alan said and then also remove the meeting minutes from July 8th.
And I don't think that motion that Ellen made was seconded. So there has been no second to the motion Ellen made.
I'll second it.
Okay, wait a minute. So just a second. So what we'll do first is, there was a motion by Councilman Henderson to move the number 6 purchase agreement to new business, and Councilmember Peterson would like to move the meeting minutes into new business to include.
Or you can just not approve them.
Okay.
And we'll go back and make that change.
So we'll pull that item off. Okay, and let's see. Would that be number 2 or 3? Okay, thank you.
Number 3.
Okay, so for our consent agenda tonight, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, pulling number 3 off and moving purchase agreement, Broad Northwest Ambulance replacement to new business?
Yes, I will make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion made by Councilman Henderson, seconded by Councilman Cock. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you very much. And so today, we will do the city administrator report.
So I am handling that this evening, and I have nothing myself to report, but I'm going to pass the mic to Mr. Peter Lane, who's going to cover a couple different topics for us this evening.
Good evening. First topic is the North Trail Bridge, and this, we previously brought this to council. The latest time was in April. But just a little bit of a background, the city entered into a development agreement with a developer, BYK. The city was interested in extending an arterial from Cook Road further north to FNS Grade Road. And as part of that development agreement, we agreed to pay some of that share of costs. When we came to you in April, we were upsizing that Brickyard Creek culvert. It was previously a culvert, and we are going to a bridge, and our estimate in April was $400,000. Since then, we've gone through design and have learned two previous pieces of information that have pretty significant cost increases. The first, when we did our geotechnical subsurface exploration, we found that the soils are susceptible to liquefaction in a seismic event. So those tend to be more sandy soils, especially if they're in higher groundwater. During a seismic event, they tend to lose significant support, and that makes the bridge susceptible to collapse. We investigated a couple different options, doing a deep foundation that can be driven piles, but we settled on ground improvement as a cheaper option, but even then it was another $400,000. The second cost increase was from an updated hydraulic study. We're required to design this structure for a 100-year flood, and that study showed it needed to be longer and higher than our initial estimates. So between the two of those, the cost increased to about $1.3 million, which was significantly above our budget and our previous estimate. What we're proposing is to remove that structure from the development agreement and have this be a city-led project. And we would apply for grant funding, and even if there are some more additional requirements on public funds that will make that cost a little bit higher, it's still going to be a much more efficient use of our resources because we pay 13.5 to 15% on a grant with our match funds. We've had a couple conversations with the developer, and they're aware of our budget circumstances. We're proposing to work with them on an amendment to the development agreement that we would bring back to you in late summer, early fall to remove that structure from the development agreement and have it be a city-led project. So would welcome any questions or comments at this time on that subject.
Any?
Just exactly where is this bridge you're putting in?
Yes, sir. So it's north of Cook. It's in the packet. Woody, I'm not sure if you can go to the, scroll down just a little bit to the attachment. Yeah. So FNS Grade Road is that diagonal line, and then Cook Road is just on the southern edge of that picture, and the structure is right at the connecting point over Brickyard Creek.
Councilmember DeYoung.
Thank you. I'll look forward to the full cost allocation and funding alternatives when the amended development agreement returns. Thank you for the report.
Councilmember Lavaca.
Yeah, thank you very much, Peter. So right now, the egress ingress is through Klinger, is that correct? And then will they have opportunity? It's not a usable road at this time, from what I understand.
Correct, yeah. So we have type 3, or we have barricades up there, so we don't want cars going down there. We have been working with Chief Wagner to have alternate fire egress. So one of those on the north end where Bucko Avenue is, where it almost connects to Thurmond Avenue. We're going to look to put in a fire access that'll be with a gate that the fire department has a key to have access that way, a secondary access. And then on the southern end, we are in preliminary discussions with the school district to let us use one of their accesses to the bus barn.
And that's for emergency use?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then for the long game, because it does kind of landlock those homes, and a lot of homes have gone in, what is the traffic impact over there on the roads that are nearest to it? I guess Klinger would be the main entrance over there, but if they would have to, they would go down that, do FNS into the roundabout area, right?
Yes, sir. I think it'll be mostly just an impact to the local residents along Bucko Avenue and Legacy Way. Because this is just one piece of that connector, I don't think we'd see a lot of system use to it quite yet until we made that full connection. If you'll see, we are Klinger. So Klinger goes to Cook.
Yeah, but was the question on Klinger? Because I think it looks like on here where Thurman does connect to Bucko, but we have that closed off. So this doesn't affect Klinger at all at this point.
Yeah, so Klinger would still be the main route for these guys if they're heading towards Cook or they're heading into that region. Otherwise, they have to go to FNS grade. I think the original plan as developed was go across that bridge and then connect to Cook via that road. And so I guess what I'm asking is, how long do you think it would take to get those grants? Or I know it's hard to speculate, but just an idea.
Yes, so the grant applications, the first one that we think we have a really good shot looking at the grant scoring model is in April, and then we would know by June whether we get that grant. And then we do have a strategy. We do know it's something we're planning and working on, and it's not definitive, but we do have a strategy to try to accelerate that as much as possible. So potentially we'd be in design later that year or early 2028.
Cool. So, yeah, I mean, these things do happen. Are we communicating that well to the residents on that end? Will there be like a board, a poster board or something like that for those guys?
The developer BYK has sent the homeowner association a communication that we've reviewed, and that's kind of laid out the issues and how we're going to make this happen.
Sweet. Well, thank you very much.
Sure.
All right. No other questions then? Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. And I do have one more. This is for a potential new solid waste truck, and this did not make the packet. This was information that we received late last week. So we currently have an interlocal agreement with Mount Vernon to enable us to borrow their trucks and them to borrow our trucks when we have a need, like for a breakdown, for example, and we need a spare truck. Over the past 2 months, we've been borrowing one of their trucks since we've had a couple issues with a couple of our trucks. And they have notified us that they are going to surplus that truck, and they have asked us if we are interested in that purchase. So we have some due diligence to do to make sure it's a good investment, and we still need to figure out what the appropriate price is. But if that works out, it brings us a good backup capacity for these situations where we do have broken down trucks in a very cost-efficient manner. A new truck is 2 years out and $600,000. So it gets us a good short-term capability. After looking into it, we would come back to you with that purchase price and request that authorization to purchase it. So just wanted to introduce that subject just as an initial talk and see if there's any questions.
Are there any questions? Councilwoman Peterson?
Before this opportunity became available, had the city identified a need for an additional truck?
Yes, we do have it budgeted. I need to check with Bill, but I think we have it next year is
Okay,
when we
cool.
request it, but it's still 2 years out to get
Yeah.
that manufactured.
So this is a really timely opportunity potentially.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for doing that due diligence.
Okay. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll move on to council member report, and I'll start with you, Mr. DeYoung online.
There's the microphone. Since our meeting on July 8th, I participated in the Skagit Transit Board meeting on July 15th. I provided a brief update from Sedro-Woolley and continued representing our community in regional transit planning and financial oversight. The Sedro-Woolley Summer Concert Series continues this Sunday, July 26th at Riverfront Park. My wife and I are proud to support this free family event with live music, children's activities, food, and craft vendors. And we'd just like to thank everyone that makes these summer evenings possible. We really have a good time with the families. On August 5th and 6th, I'll be attending the Association of Washington Cities Municipal Budgeting and Fiscal Management Workshop in Leavenworth, along with Charlie and council members Peterson and Cox. The workshop will cover municipal budgeting fundamentals, resident engagement, and practical financial guidance as we prepare for the city's upcoming budget process. I'd also like to thank the city for recognizing that I have completed the AWC Certificate of Municipal Leadership. I appreciate the recognition and look forward to putting that training to work for Sedro-Woolley. And then finally, a civic reminder, primary ballots are due Tuesday, August 4th. Sedro-Woolley voters may use the ballot drop box at the post office, and please make your voice heard and return your ballot on time. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, and congratulations on your AWC accomplishment. All right, Council Member Cox.
I'm sort of piggyback a little bit on Councilman DeYoung and saying how much I do appreciate the summer concerts at Riverfront Park. They're fabulous. There will also be Public History Day Saturday at Northern State, and following that, if you could have a whole day of it at the Swift Center. They're going to have the first of 3 summer concerts. Last year they had 1. This year they're doing 3. The first one starting Saturday, and of these 3 concerts, like Riverfront, they're all free to attend. The last one, pretty cool, on September 12th will include the Skagit Symphony. So I imagine the logistics of getting all them there is going to be interesting. The only other thing I had was a woman who lives on Fruitdale told me that, and I do appreciate, Chief, you guys have been, I've seen police cars on Fruitdale, but she said that the speeding is, she said people are going up and down, especially at night, like 70 or 80 miles an hour plus. And she and I are concerned because right across near her, there's 10 new houses going in off of Fruitdale, so that'll add to congestion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Loy.
I just have a real quick one. We're getting close to our skating competition. The little trophies that you hang on the people I got to pick them up, but they're ready to go, so we're ready to go.
Good. Thank you, and Carl, for all your work on that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you. Chief McElraith, I wanted to inquire and maybe get an update on when we could expect to have a code enforcement officer on staff.
Sure thing. We're in the process. We gave conditional offer on the 15th of July. So I'm hoping, if everything goes smoothly, to have somebody hired mid-August. Sooner the better, whenever it works out. Any other questions with that?
No, thank you. That's great news.
Thank you.
Looking forward to having that filled. This past week, I had a couple of very serious code violation complaints from people who live within Ward 4, and I'll be getting a hold of you probably later this week or next week to follow up on those. I already brought one to your attention already.
Yeah, I read that. So
Okay.
the other ones, if you can fill me in, at least I can get started on them.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of filling in a void a little bit.
All right, thank you, Chief. And again, summer concert series kicked off. It was a blast. Rotary does a fantastic job down there. Chris Rothenbuehler really goes out of her way to make that a fantastic event for everybody. Food's great, the beer garden's great, and the music's great. So the next 3 Sundays at 6 p.m. Riverfront Park. Don't miss it.
Perfect, thank you. Can I come to you last? Okay, and then I'm going to go to Councilmember Cox.
Well, it seems to be a theme here, but the concert series, what I heard of the most about, and in fact, I was actually at the local Morgans when someone stepped out of their car to come tell me about it. So it's kind of fun. I love that we're doing things, and it's great to hear that we're doing stuff out the Swift Center as well. Wanted to say to Carl again, congratulations, co-council member there. It's nice to see people learning and growing. There's so much to learn, and I'm excited to join Councilmember Peterson with you at the next workshop. So I'm very excited about that. Also visited with constituents about the library. So it's fun to talk to some people that work for the library and the stuff that we're working on right now. Enjoyed the fact that we're all talking about the same things here. We're a small town, and it kind of gives you the temperature in the room when others are talking about their concerns. I heard concerns this weekend also about people speeding up, lots of stuff down there in Ward 2, right on Sap Road. So I think that they might think it's a racetrack, but I'm hearing from constituents that it's an issue. So love that we're thinking about that. Other than that, summer is in full swing. It's hot, and it's great to see I'm not purposely talking about the patrol cars going around all the time, but it's wonderful to see you guys downtown. We were trying to cool off our building, and we had an officer that scared my wife, which was really fun to see, because the door was open, so they were concerned that we had a door open in the middle of the night. But it's just really nice, the friendliness. And then immediately he left us to go check on someone that was speeding. So love what you guys do and appreciate everything going on here.
Thank you. Councilwoman Peterson?
Yeah, I'd also like to echo the thanks to the Rotary and Eagles for the really fun concert. That's a great concert series. I'm looking forward to getting up to the Swift Center too. And as you guys were talking about it, I thought, wouldn't it be cool once the Hub building is revamped, having winter concerts too? I think that'd be so cool. That's just such a great project. So thanks to Paul and Joe Allen for all the work. I know you've worked really hard on those committees and everything to make that happen in our community. I've been looking at, I guess this is kind of nerdy, I've been looking at the Road to Housing Act, which became law on July 11th. This is really sweeping bipartisan housing legislation that includes a lot of programs that could potentially benefit Sedro-Woolley. So I'm really looking forward to reviewing it, hopefully with some of our city staff, to see how we can bring some of those opportunities home here in Sedro-Woolley. I also have been reaching out to constituents about the text of the ballot stuff that we've been working on this for so long. We know what it's supposed to say, and it's kind of a scary thing. This is my first time voting on a ballot measure, and I really want to make sure we get the wording right, because boy, it would sure be a shame if constituents came back later and were like, hey, I didn't understand that. Why didn't you tell us? So that's something I've been working on. I also attended an AWC session on community development and the role of elected leaders. This is part of that Certificate of Municipal Leadership program. Congrats, Carl, on achieving that certification. And thanks for all the work that you're doing in our community with that education. It sounds like we've got James kind of on board going that direction with the budget workshop we're all going to. That'll be really fun. And then I will also be hosting a sort of Ward 3 open house at the library on August 15th from 4 to 6. This is an opportunity for constituents and members of the public to provide input to me as a council member. Last summer, I went door to door during my campaign. Everyone's heard me say that, asking people what they like about the city, what issues they see that they want addressed. And it's been a year now, so I want to gather some more feedback, get updated information from people so that I can take it into consideration as I make decisions up here on the dais.
Perfect, thank you. And Councilmember Lavaca.
Thank you. So I've heard a couple of things about the senior center and the new position that's opening up. Some interviews taking place. So people are excited by that. They're excited by the new opportunity, and they're excited to actually see it really being something that's manifesting out. So great job on that, and it's people are very stoked about that. Another thing is I went up to visit the ICR, the IERC, the Innovation Resource Center up at the Swift Center. Very cool spot. It's got a lot of opportunity there. So hopefully in our own backyard, we can see people taking more advantage of that. And then they're going to have an event take place. It should be at that last concert they do up there, up in that area. But I'll leave Diane to advertise that. Looks like a good one. So as far as the Mayor Pro Temp, which I have on here, I'm actually going to move back from being the Mayor Pro Temp after looking at my work schedule, things I've got going on. I don't know that I would be able to fill that role if something were to happen. So I think it would be an opportunity to nominate a council member who can, and then do the monthly meetings with you and the staff and be able to keep up on that. So that's something I was going to set down. And then if anybody else is interested in that opportunity, there's only 4 months left in the year, so it's a good opportunity for that. I would nominate, Councilman Henderson, if you're interested. You've done it before, or is that something that you'd be into?
Yeah. I'd second that.
All right, so for the appointment for Mayor Pro Tem, thank you for your work in doing that and serving us. And we have a motion for,
Nomination.
Thank you, nomination for Councilman Henderson, seconded by Carl DeYoung, Councilmember DeYoung. Is there any other nominations at this point for Mayor Pro Tem as well?
I'd like to nominate Paul Koch.
Okay, so we have another nomination for Councilman Koch. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and put it to a vote then.
Oh, I might just clarify if there was any other nominations.
Oh, is there any other nominations? Okay, so we will start with Councilman Henderson. All those in favor for Councilman Henderson for Mayor Pro Tem, say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign.
Opposed.
Okay, so having majority for Councilman Henderson, he is now the new Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you.
And if it's still my term, thank you for doing that. I know that you got experience from doing it before, and I hate to leave the position just hanging, so thank you for doing that. So we've been spending some more time down at the parks, and we have heard from a couple of people about the Northern States recreational area, having ball fields over there. It seems to be a mixed feeling right now. There was a lot of momentum with a lot of the parents that I know, especially some of the coaches and the T-ball people. So they're really excited about that opportunity. But it is a mix. So I'm letting them know that the city, doesn't own the property. It's not something that we have a vote in. We can vote to say, yeah, go forth and, hopefully work out a deal or have a discussion or see if it's even an opportunity, but it's not city-owned property. So we don't really have anything to do with that. But I like the idea, and I hope that one day, it does work out. So, yeah.
Thank you. All right. We have congratulations for a few things that are happening here. Ralph Kennedy and the crew at the wastewater treatment plant have earned the 2025 Wastewater Treatment Plant Outstanding Performance Award for compliance. So congratulations to them and all their hard work. And then you kind of touched on it a little bit, but we did hire Jackie Kress for our new Senior Center Coordinator, and are very excited about welcoming her to our Sedro-Woolley family. And we know she's going to do very wonderful things, so we're very excited to have her. And with that, sure.
Is this like the overall coordinator?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, yep.
Because I saw there were some others that are part-time, right?
Yep, so should she ever choose to take a vacation or a sick day, there'd be someone to fill in for her. Yeah. All right, let's see here. We'll move on to public comment. Before we begin public comment, I'd like to review the procedures. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. Please state your name and your affiliation with the city. Comments should be directed to the council and the chair. To maintain decorum, applause, outbursts, and other audience demonstrations are not permitted. Please note that the council will not respond during public comment, but will listen to and consider all comments presented. And our first person will be Jackie Kress. Come on up.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Jackie Kress, and I want to sincerely thank you all for the work that you've done. I'm so excited to serve and have this opportunity to serve the seniors here in Woolley, and I can't wait to get to work on this. It's an honor to have been chosen for this role. I know how important it is to you. It's also really important to me. I'm really grateful for the confidence that you guys have put in me, and I will not disappoint you. I'll make sure that you know you made the right decision in this. I want to thank you for your vision and your commitment to seniors in our area. Because of your vision on this, it ensures that older adults in our communities will continue to be served with education, a place to belong, a place to call home away from home, but it also helps the families of those people who depend on their older adult family members to have a place to belong and a place to volunteer and to learn and to continue to thrive in their communities. You guys having that vision to step up and step forward is astounding, and it's first class, and I'm so excited to be part of that. That investment, I think, will make a difference in the lives of all the community members here. When people are left alone in their homes for too long, there's more well checks for the city police and the county EMS departments. But you guys making sure that the seniors are safe and have a place like this is amazing. For the past 15 years, I've had the privilege of serving seniors in the capacity of a senior center coordinator in a neighboring city, but I'm super, super excited to align with a city that views seniors not as a burden, but as something to be celebrated. And that's kind of rare right now. And you guys are amazing for that. Your compassion and collaboration with me will always be recognized. I will continue to update you on what's going on as we move forward, and I'll continue to serve in any capacity that I'm able to help you guys succeed and the city of Woolley succeed and the seniors in our area succeed. I'm really excited about this. I'm excited to get to work. I, again, will make sure that you know that you picked the right person for the job. Thank you for your trust. This is my friend Arnie. He's a volunteer at the senior center that I currently serve. We have a lot of volunteers that are excited to possibly serve in another capacity here at another senior center. So we're just really super excited in even neighboring cities and proud of this work that you guys have all done, and I know it's not been easy. So it's not lost on anyone what you guys have done. And so I super look forward to getting to work, and go Cubs.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Beverly Laudermill.
Washington state law does not grant mayors the authority to verbally discipline, reprimand, or sanction city council members. Council members are independent elected officials, and by state statute RCW 352-3270, the city council itself holds the power to punish its own members for disorderly conduct. While a mayor is typically designated by statute RCW 35A12100 to preside over council meetings, their role is to maintain order and decorum rather than to hand out disciplinary actions to other elected officials. Additionally, with regard to current city council members speaking at open forums at county commissioner meetings, the member has the right to identify himself as a current city council member as long as he identifies his statement as his own and not a representation of entire council. I searched a couple of RCWs to obtain this information. I feel it would behoove the mayor and all city council members to utilize WACs and RCWs as they apply to your positions. Do not depend on your personal feelings or what you think is right or opinions of others. This way you can represent your constituents and not depend on misinformation or become a victim of pack mentality or public bullying, and you can all stay within the law. I would remind you all that violations of laws or code of ethics can actually result in recalls and lawsuits by individuals. I encourage you all to take your positions seriously and with solemn regard.
Thank you. All right. I don't see anyone else on the list. Yes, you may. Come on up.
I'm Sally Carlson, and last time I spoke to the council, I believe I spoke about the Jones Road punch through under the railroad tracks. And I got a call back from somebody in the planning department that said, well, our plan for the west end of Jones Road would be through not Klinger Estates, through that place that's supposed to have the bridge in it. Trail Road. On Trail Road. He said that's the road that everybody's going to use is Trail Road. And what are we going to do now? Isn't the bridge right there isn't it across the creek on Trail Road? Isn't that the bridge we're talking about? The connection between Cook Road and F&S grade. And the planner said Trail Road, not Klinger Estates. Trucks can't go through Klinger Estates. There's a weight limit on that road. So the only other road is F&S, and that's going north. So here we are back at the beginning. Why are we punching through Jones Road to go nowhere?
Thank you.
If I may, it's not the planning department. My department has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
So,
All right. If there isn't anybody else in the room for comments, then I'm going to go online. And Woody, do you see anybody online who'd like to give comment?
If any of the remote guests would like to participate in public comment, please raise your hand and I will allow you the ability to speak. And we are seeing no raised hands.
Okay, then it's 6:38, and we'll go ahead and close public comment. All right, unfinished business, ordinance 212426. The library.
Good evening, council. So just to give a summary, we talked about a lot of these points in previous meetings. But on the November 3rd, 2026 general election will include a ballot proposition for the city of Sedro-Woolley to join and be annexed into the Central Skagit Rural Partial County Library District if the below items pass. The first one is this ordinance declaring the city's intention to join and be annexed into the library district. We'd also need to pass a resolution for the ballot proposition for the annexation. That's also on tonight's agenda for second read, as well as a resolution concurring the city's intent by the library district. There are library district representatives here tonight. They have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow. And then the last item would be the city council and the library district's pre-annexation agreement, some amendments that outline what would occur between our two jurisdictions if the annex does get approved by voters. We have prepared and we have a handout of the one-page flyer that provides additional information on the potential annexation. We also have a separate, more detailed document that explains, hopefully tries to answer the majority of questions anyone may have about annexation into the library district, how it would impact property tax, how it would impact the agreement between our two jurisdictions. Both of those things are posted on the website, and you have the one-page flyer at the dais as well. I wanted to point out a couple of items, not everything that's included in there, but just a couple of items. Main point is that Sedro-Woolley residents, will directly fund the library district. Currently, funds pass through the city of Sedro-Woolley, and then we pay the library district. So this would be the citizens directly paying the library district. If the annexation passed, beginning in 2026, residents would see the library district on their property tax bill. Did I say the wrong date? I'm sorry, beginning in 2028. Thank you. Residents would see the library district on their property tax statement, and then the city of Sedro-Woolley would reduce its property tax to offset the majority of that change. The estimated net increase would be about $11 per year for a home with a current assessed value of $519,000. And then Sedro-Woolley registered voters would then be eligible to vote on any future library ballot initiatives, bonds, and property tax levies. We do have some additional information that the amounts presented here do not include a library district levy lid lift in 2027 or 2028, that the city and the library district, again, are two separate local governments, and the city has no authority on whether the library district passes that ballot measure or when they're going to pass it, or when they're going to ask voters for a potential levy lid lift. So that's not included in this material here. Just wanted to clear up some clarification as well from the last meeting, that the county assessor referenced that there would be no financial impact to Sedro-Woolley residents if we were annexed into the library district. Right now, we do anticipate there to be an increase, as we stated, of about $11 a year, as we're not going to offset the total amount that the library district would collect. The council authorized us to offset the property tax by $474,000. So just wanted to make that clear, just clear that up. And then also to know our analysis of this is based on estimates. We don't know how much the assessed value of the library district will change, how much the cities will change. So these are estimates, assuming some increase in assessed value of both jurisdictions. So I know that was a lot of information, but if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Councilman Henderson?
Thank you. On page 56, Prop 1, getting into the language of it,
We're not at that part. We're not discussing those.
I'm jumping the gun a little bit
Yeah.
here, though, because
Wait just a moment, because we have more.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I will yield back and get to that in a second.
Go to page 54.
Okay, Councilman Cox.
I think Councilman Lowy had his light on.
That's all right, I got to you first, go ahead.
Okay. I think you did I don't know if I'm jumping ahead on this too, on the page, the handout. And I guess I shouldn't mention the ballot language, but, I have concerns that somebody will not see this stuff and just see the ballot language. And when I see ballot measures that don't make sense, I research it, but a lot of people just simply vote against it or don't vote. But I thought you did a good job with this. How is this being marketed, pushed out into the community?
Right now, it's on the city website. After council approval, and the item is, the deadline for submitting to Skagit County is August 4th, I think. So in between then and the election is when we'll do more information out to the public. One of the plans is to put a flyer into the utility bill, so we can provide,
Will it be this flyer?
right,
Yeah.
or a version of it, if there's things we want to change. We can provide information out to the public, and we'll do the best we can on that.
And you did a really good job with this flyer. I used to do this for years, and I don't know if we're precluded if the annexation fails. It says this will require the city to decrease other core city services. Can we make it more draconian and say significantly decrease, or is that out of bounds?
No?
Because I think it would.
Right. And just to note that's the impact. It's hard to fit a lot of information into one page, but that's the impact if we don't annex in and there is a library levy lid lift. So again,
You can find a shorter word. Yeah.
it's hard to put all that in there.
Thank you.
Councilman Loy?
Yeah, I was just wondering, what's it cost the city to put a measure on the ballot?
We get the bill afterwards. I don't have that. I know.
Business.
They take the total cost of the election and divide it amongst the jurisdictions that have items in there. So the general election is the cheapest election to include a ballot measure on because that has the most.
So are you
items.
saying that if Alan has a measure on the ballot and I have a measure and Paul has a measure, that you split it 3 ways?
Right.
Thank you.
Councilman Lavaca?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, good information on here. I was just, in reading through it, the dollar figures kind of stand out, and I do see that, and I do see that's being a main focal of what we're trying to accomplish. But I don't think that we're getting the point across that, as of now, the citizens don't necessarily have the right to vote in those measures. So they're not taking part in the library's activities as far as ballot measures and things they got going on because we're not part of that district. But yet we are affected through cost, through choices that are made from other voters in the county. So I think we need to drive home the point of participation. And right now we are on the benches and we have to pay for whoever wins. So we really want to focus on that point. The cost, obviously everybody looks at that and they kind of, sometimes roll their eyes and they're like, yeah, it's always going to cost something. It's always about money, what's in the fine print. But ultimately, there is no participation the city has a right to right now, and we should definitely include that in there. I don't think that this intent to put onto the ballot or intent to annex, which is what we're talking about, the reason why is because we don't have skin in the game. We don't have a voice, and that's why we're doing it. Or why this motion is before us, ultimately.
Councilman DeYoung?
Thank you. So Kelly, I'm going to try to reduce your outstanding report into a paragraph because I want to make sure I have it correct, so then I can articulate it when asked out in the public. So the city's estimated 2028 net effort under the current assumptions is approximately $11 annually for the example home being almost $520,000. Do I have that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. And with that, I move Resolution 1191-26, Library Annexation Ballot Proposition.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
All right. I have a motion made by Councilman DeYoung, seconded by Councilman Peterson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. And now we'll move on to the Resolution 119126 ballot.
All right, this is the second piece that we need to approve to continue forward with this. Most of the information was included in the ordinance, so I won't go over that again. The format of the ballot measure is very specific. We have to include a statement identifying the enacting legislative body. Then we have a statement that can be not exceed 10 words in length, and then the rest of it has to not exceed 75 words. So it's hard to kind of point those things out in the ballot language, but just keeping that in mind. I mean, I wrote a 4.5-page document about this, so to me it's very hard to condense it down into 75 words. Our attorney, Dan Curtis, helped us do that to the best of our ability. So what is included meets the requirement for the ballot, and as well as the explanatory language as well.
Councilman Henderson?
Thank you. So this is where I was trying to jump to earlier. I was really excited. I think a lot of it looks great, but in the explanatory statement, it's right about in the middle of the paragraph. It says the city intends to reduce its budgeted property tax levy by up to $474,000 in 2028 to offset most of the new library district property tax. I'd like to be a little bit more definitive in that and say will reduce or shall reduce instead of intends to, because intends always means that, the voters vote for this, with the understanding that we are going to be lowering our levy rate to offset the cost of them becoming members of the library district if they so choose. If we intend to reduce it, we could always later say, actually, we need that money, so we're not going to. And I think in this resolution, having that binding language in there, if the voters do what we're saying, this is going to be the effect, then I think having that language in there, holding the city to that same standard is important to me. If that makes sense.
It does make sense. Dan Curtis, in the explanatory statement, would there be any concerns in the middle to say that instead of the city intends to reduce its budgeted property tax levy, instead to say the city shall reduce its budgeted property tax levy? I mean, before Dan answers, my only note is that council has to approve the resolution. I don't know, another question for Dan, if that language in the explanatory statement would, changing it to shall, would be binding.
Yeah, I think, first of all, if a council member wanted to amend the explanatory statement and then approve it as amended, there is nothing wrong with that. Is it binding? Yes, in that it's an official action taken by council as a resolution, which then becomes part of a ballot measure before the voters. So it would be a real commitment and not something that we could take back. But again, if a council member wants to move to amend and then approve with that amendment, I don't see a problem with that. I would say that in order to make the November ballot, the deadline is August 4th, and so tonight is the last meeting in which we could pass this in order to make that deadline, the last regular meeting, that is. So
Thank you, Dan, for the explanation.
happy to take any other questions also.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that, I will be motioning to amend that language here in a second, but I just wanted to make it entirely clear, and this was something that was important to me the last time we discussed this, was that the city's not gonna keep all this money that we've been paying to the library district on the back of the taxpayers through their levy rate. That money will be returned to them, and they will be paying slightly more. They'll be paying about $11 a year more if this annexation passes and then the levy lid lift passes, which they will be able to vote in. It's important to me to note that that if they pass it, then we will be bound to hold our end of the agreement of lowering their levy rate. And if they don't pass it, then all of this language just goes away, right? Like, it doesn't mean anything if the voters don't want to join the library district. So I just wanted to be clear on that through the meeting, that's my intention, is making sure that we're holding ourselves, or we're binding ourselves to this agreement if they so choose to bind themselves to the library district.
One thing to note, if you are going to make a motion about that one sentence, that right now it says the city intends to reduce its budgeted property tax levy by up to $474,115 in 2028. If you want to change the intends to shall, do you want to keep the by up to, or?
I think it could work better as a percentage rate if we're able to calculate that for, like, so the $474,115, because each year, the levy is what the levy is, right? The levy rate. So calculated
No.
across.
Well, yes and no. We set a budgeted levy. Like, we set the total amount of money we're gonna collect, and then the county, based on our assessed value, determines the levy rate so that it can determine how much each home has to pay of that total. So having a specific dollar amount that we're going to reduce our budgeted levy is the simplest way to reduce our budgeted levy.
Instead of by percentage. Like, what percent of any, just pick one person and say, what percent of the city's budgeted levy rate are we paying over the library district? And each person will vary from house to house, right?
Right.
And then, so if we just hold that hard number of $474,115, then you gotta back calculate it to what each person is saving, right? Like, each individual household would be saving.
Yeah, you wouldn't know ahead of time.
Right.
What each individual house is going to pay. I mean, there's a lot of factors in it as well, including if your home, if the average of assessed value in Sedro-Woolley increased by 4%, but your home did not increase, you're actually going to pay less to the city than you did the previous year. So there's a lot of factors in there. it would be hard to say a percent. I can't envision how we would have a percentage instead of a dollar amount.
Okay. I'm fine with the dollar amount. I'm fine with the dollar amount, but we need to,
If I may, would it make sense to propose just a 500,000 up to, because it's the up to part. You don't know the exact figures until we start getting into it. So if it does go over, 500, if it ends up being the 474, that's great. It's still very close, but at least we don't, at least we're not under. So, and it's a more of a round figure.
We're likely not going to know. I'm trying to think of the series of events. We're likely not going to know ahead of time what the library district's levy rate is going to be for the year. I guess we could contact them, right? Because we get an assessment from Skagit County right before in November, a final assessment, so that we can pass our property tax resolution, our budgeted levy. It would be tricky to offset it by the exact amount. We chose $474,000 because that's the amount we paid the library district in 2025. And we kind of set that as like our base rate. Because our payment to the library district increases every year, it's hard for the city to even keep up with that cost, partially because our the assessed value within city limits is increasing quicker at a higher percentage than the assessed value of the library the current library district. So the reason we set it at 474,000 is that was kind of our baseline.
Does it make sense then to go bigger? You can go 10 million, and just for an instance, you're going up to there. But if we use strong language like shall, then we limit it to 474.15 up to that point. And if that's last year's, it's most likely going to be more this year for sure. So it seems like we could do 500 or 600 and up to. And that just gives that rough language. It allows you to do your math at the end of the year. Does that make sense?
yes.
I don't recommend decreasing our budgeted levy by more than $474,000.
Well, it's a decrease. It's not, it says we intend to reduce the budgeted amount by 474.
Our budgeted levy. So we, every year, we get to decide our budgeted levy, how much money we collect. Our budgeted levy is how much money we collect in property tax. And of course, there's limits, right? It's what we collected last year plus 1% plus new construction. So with this plan is to say the library district would be collecting property tax from Sedro-Woolley residents because we are annexed in. We estimate that they would collect $517,000. The city would reduce how much we collect from city residents as a whole by $474,000. So that's $474,000 less revenue we would receive. That's, about $470,000 less expenditures, the city would spend.
I think when we decided as a council, we've discussed this and voted on this, and I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think the idea was, we're gonna we're not gonna double charge residents for the library. We're going to take that fee out of our budget and not charge people for the library. So in my mind, I really like what Alan's saying when he says the city shall reduce its budgeted property tax levy by up to blah-de-blah dollars. But I would say instead of offsetting most of the new library district property tax, really the offset is we're offsetting the fee that the city is paying, right? And And that's the intention, is for us to offset the fee that the city is paying, because now our residents are gonna be paying the tax directly to the district, right? I mean, I think that was the intention when we made that decision.
Yeah,
If I'm right.
that is the intent. The intent is to put that money back into the taxpayers' pockets, because we don't obviously want them being charged by the library district and then us continually charging them for money that technically we don't need because we're not paying it out. So, but that's why I want the stronger language in there of we will, not we intend to, but we will.
Yeah.
Shall.
I
Or-
agree. I agree with that, but I do think because it's like a communication thing, right? I think the second part of the sentence, I think it's more clear when we say that we're offsetting the fee, that, because we're not exactly offsetting the property tax, because the fee that the city is paying, I think, is a little bit less than what residents would pay in tax, and that's why there's the $11 difference, right? The offset is offsetting the fee, and that's how we came up with that $474,000 is from that 2025 fee, right?
Right, but I think we're getting a little deep into it. I don't know how many more words we can put into this, because I didn't count them out. I think it's 200, right? But at the end of that sentence, it would say, to offset most of the new library district property taxes to the taxpayer, right?
There's 199 words there. So, but if you said the city shall, you're gaining one more word so that you're at 198, reduce its budgeted property tax levy. And then this is where I'm asking council if they want to say by up to 474,000 in 2028, or if you want to say by 474,000. And then it is offsetting most of the new library district's property tax. So what that's saying is you're going to pay library district property tax now, and we're going to offset it by reducing your city property tax.
Councilman Lavaca?
I think that if you remove intends to and put shall, you actually gain a word, right? So you'll be at 98.
Oh, no, you would,
So it says the city intends
shall
to.
reduce.
Yeah, so city intends to, as of right now, 199. City shall reduce, so now that would be 198. So I think you gain one word, if that helps.
Yeah, you do.
So and I think it's just a moot point because you see exact figures. 474,115. That's what we did last year. If this doesn't go through, we never had this discussion, it would be more in 2026, I believe. But I think that's a moot point too. I think we get a little bit lost, or at least I do when I'm looking at it, is, we're looking at doing an annexation so people have a right to vote on a levy that is going to potentially be on the ballot. This is not the levy. This is to annexation, right? So we're not the library district. We're not voting to do a levy with this ballot measure. We're voting to annex in so people have the choice for future annexations. So, but it does read, kind of with the accounting language in there, like it's a financial levy or it's going to cost the taxpayers or be somewhere intertwined into that. And I think it's a separate thing.
Well, the $11 does not include a library district levy lid lift. The $11 is if we get annexed into the library district, what would be the impact on a Sedro-Woolley resident's property tax bill in 2028? And in 2028, their property tax would slightly increase, about $11 a year, so less than $1 a month for that. We thought that was important to include, but if council doesn't believe that to be true.
Yeah, I think my personal self, I think it reads good. It just can get kind of confusing on what the intent is. It will cost them $11 more. They're having the right in the city to vote now for levy lid lifts.
And get their voice.
get their voice heard. And they'll probably see $11 more. And then in the future, if the library raises more levies, they have a voice in that, which makes sense. And I think it's perfectly fine, would be ineligible to vote. Since we have extra words, it might be nice city residents would not be able to vote in. I don't know if we want to do that. Ineligible works fine, but just whatever's going to be read easy for people when they're reading through the ballot measure. I think you get the point across, though, when you're.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Okay, how about this sentence? I like Alan's idea, saying shall instead of, and I'm also stuck on the second, because I think it's like, we're trying to swap out our fee for direct taxation and decision-making, right? How about this sentence? And I think it's the same number of words or fewer, Kelly, but I don't know how, I counted them on my fingers. The city shall reduce its budgeted property tax levy by up to $474,115 in 2028 to offset fees the city pays to the library district. Anything wrong with that?
Can you repeat that?
Yes, I can, because I have it typed out here. The city shall reduce its budgeted property tax levy by up to $474,115 in 2028 to offset fees the city pays to the library district.
That's not exactly what is occurring.
Oh, boy, okay.
You're not offsetting, I mean, you're basically
The reduction is to offset the payment we would make to the library, right? Instead of making the payment to the library, we're reducing our
to the citizen, you're offsetting their increase in property tax from the library district. You're basically replacing your payment to the library district with a reduction in our revenue. That's how I would.
Kelly, if I could interject here.
Yes,
Because
please.
of the 200-word limit, it's almost like we had to omit a step here where upon annexation, citizens would be taxed by the library. The reduction by $474,115 is the council's attempt to offset that new tax. And so it is offsetting the new library district property tax by the fee amount that citizens were charged by the city the previous year. That's just too long to say.
They should allow extra words and just charge for them.
I mean, if we could also, I mean, there's a lot in here as well. If we don't want to include the estimated library district levy rate, we might be able to add that statement that Dan Curtis just referred to.
I would be in favor. I think getting into the weeds of what the library may do in the future with levy increases and things like that would be.
Yeah, this here is not like with the levy lid lift. It's with their current budgeted levy projected out without that, but.
It sounded good that Dan said, and to remove that section, I think would still get the point across, but.
Did you write that down, Dan, or did you speak it?
Replay it, Woody.
We'll wait till tomorrow.
If you look at the previous sentence, we have the city estimates that in 2028, the library district levy rate would be 23 cents per $1,000 of assessed value, and that the district would collect approximately $517,255 from property within the city. Now, we could say therefore or accordingly in order to connect these two ideas, because that previous sentence is the reason that the city intends to reduce its budgeted property tax levy by up to $474,000 in order to offset that new library district property tax that was explained in the previous sentence. So maybe that could be the amendment is we say, therefore, the city shall
I like
reduce
that.
its, okay.
I'm seeing nodding
Motion to
heads.
do what Dan said. I can't repeat it. I wrote down therefore in my notes.
Okay, let me read this out.
While he's gathering that.
city-
Oh,
The
sorry, guys.
city
I also
estimate-
have a amended language I'd like to suggest for the ballot itself. So can we vote on just the voter pamphlet language first and then do the ballot separate?
You can make what we'd recommend is making a motion to amend the ballot language and then making a motion to change the explanatory statement and then making a motion to approve the resolution with those amendments.
Okay, so I took this text around because, I mean, I think we all have the same concern is like, it's on us if we get the language wrong and people don't understand what they're voting on. So the comments that I got back from constituents were related to the ballot language itself, and they were unclear on that the agreement was, now I'm thinking about the voter pamphlet language. They were unclear in the ballot language that the agreement is connected to a payment that's directly related to the library's levy rate. So my proposed revised language is, and I think everyone has this printed out in front of them, the City Council of Sedro-Woolley adopted resolution number 1191-26 concerning annexation to the Central Skagit Rural Partial County Library District. This is, sorry, it's a really long name. The Central, oh no, I have to say it again. The Central Skagit Rural Partial County Library District. Central Skagit Library covers the surrounding rural areas within the Sedro-Woolley School District boundaries, but does not include Sedro-Woolley city limits. Library service provided to Sedro-Woolley residents is based on an agreement between the city and the Central Skagit Library with fees tied to the Central Skagit Library levy rate, and that's kind of the changed language. I'd like to see there voter approval of Proposition 1 will result in Sedro-Woolley becoming a part of the Central Skagit Library. So I'd like to make a motion to change the ballot language to that thing.
Should we, Dan, finish what we were working on before we do that? Because this is the second part to it.
The
Kelly was saying on the
language.
first
We
part.
could do it in either order. We could amend the language and then amend the explanatory statement and then do a motion to approve. It's up to you, Mayor, whichever order you would like to do that.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Are we still discussing the explanatory statement? It seemed like you had that, therefore, the city shall reduce its budget. So those are the words. You remove intends to, 2 words, and you replace it with therefore and shall. So you break even on that, and it seems like
We were working on that first, and then we jumped into this before we were able to finish that. So,
Yeah, so what I can do is I can read that in full.
please.
And then if you'd like, you could move to amend accordingly. So what I have is, as you explained, we're removing the words intends to, replacing with the word shall. And after the word city, following the period, we're inserting the word therefore to connect the two ideas. And it will read as, the city estimates that in 2028, the library district levy rate would be 23 cents per $1,000 of assessed value, and that the district would collect approximately $517,255 from property within the city. Therefore, the city shall reduce its budgeted property tax levy by up to $474,115 in 2028 to offset most of the new library district property tax.
I move to amend as read.
A second.
All right, so we have a motion to amend as read by Councilman Henderson, seconded by Councilman Lavaca. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, that motion is approved. And now we will move on to the second area of that with Councilman Peterson's language change. Were there any thoughts on this?
It seems
Madam
like it's
Mayor?
pretty,
I did not see the changes that were proffered by Councilor Member Peterson.
Okay,
Where would I find that on the screen?
We don't have it on the screen.
we
just
don't have it
printed
on the screen, and you probably didn't, she did read it out loud for us. Would you like her to read it out loud again? Or,
I would prefer it in writing if we're going to take such a serious motion. So if it could be reduced to writing, we can take a moment to do that.
is there a way you can just forward your email over to Carl DeYoung? Because I think the vote has to be done tonight, right?
Right.
If I'm correct, yes.
I'll send it to you,
All
Carl.
right, Councilwoman
Right,
Pedersen's
I'm
going
not- I'm not, to be clear, I am not asking to postpone this vote.
correct.
Just to be clear, I
Councilwoman
wanna
Peterson's
understand what
going to
we're gonna
send it
vote
to
on.
you right now.
All right, thank you.
So we'll wait a moment.
Do-do-do.
Thank you, Councilwoman Peterson.
Could you send it to Woody too, so he can put it up on the screen?
Oh, yeah, great idea. Nice. Okay. Sent. Sorry I jumped the gun on that. I got
okay.
confused about all the different amendment processes and everything.
That's all right. We're going to handle it right now and get this on its way. Did you receive that? Not yet?
Yeah, it just landed in the box. Give me a moment to read it, please.
Okay. While we're waiting, thank you guys for all your work and effort on this to make sure that our constituents know everything that's going on and get the correct information out there. So, thank you all for that. Sure, sure.
This is my ignorance. Could somebody briefly, in case a constituent asks why the city isn't in the library district? It's like a basic question, but I don't know, we have people here from the library.
Would you like to come up and answer that while he's reading?
So there's a variety of forms of library districts in the state of Washington, but we are a rural partial county district, and when a rural partial county district or a rural library district for a full county is created by the voters, it does not include any incorporated areas. So in our case, our boundaries match the Sedro-Woolley School District, which is also true for the Upper Skagit Library District. When the voters voted to form the district, it did not include the city of Sedro-Woolley or the towns of Lyman or Hamilton, which are also have not voted to join the district. They haven't voted at all, so they are not part of the library district either. But a city can establish a contract for library services with a library district. That's specifically allowed under the RCW, which is what the city of Sedro-Woolley has done. So just as an example, Upper Skagit Library District was formed. They put the library in concrete, and it wasn't until about 10 years later that the city voted to join the district. And during that whole time, concrete residents had to pay for a library card in concrete. So that is why. When you form it, it is not automatically part. And I believe it has to be a separate election, so you couldn't do it in the same election either.
Thank you very much. All right, we got that. Thank you, Woody. We got it up on the screen now in front of all of us.
So this isn't in a format of strikeouts and replacement language. So if I could indulge Councilmember Peterson to explain what was done here with highlights and different colors.
The change is in the second to last sentence.
I have it underlined.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
She has the red line.
here
Joelle.
it is, right here in blue. With fees tied to the Central Skagit Library levy rate. That's the verbiage she would like to add to that.
We also changed just a couple of small things, like in the second sentence, known as the Central Skagit Library District, to save words. We took out known as the.
Oh, yeah, I see.
And then also that in there it says boundaries, but does not include City of Sedro-Woolley City limits. Change that to does not include Sedro-Woolley City limits, so that we save 2 more words right there. So Councilmember Peterson had made the recommendation about the with fees tied to the Central Skagit Library District levy rate, and with that in the original pushed over the word limit. So then there was some of those other revisions, which some of them I think are positive anyway. Like, we don't need to say City of Sedro-Woolley city limits. You can just say Sedro-Woolley city limits. I think that's a positive change.
I don't know. I'm in favor of the change. Yeah. I'll make a motion to keep it as is, or keep it to the recommended changes of Councilwoman Peterson.
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a motion to change it to Councilmember Peterson's language by Councilman LaVaca, seconded by Councilman Koch. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Councilman Peterson, for that. Good work. And now we are on to ordinance 212526.
Oh, do we
Dan?
need a motion to approve as amended?
Yes.
May I get a
I'll make that motion to approve as amended.
I'll second.
Thank you. We had a motion to approve as amended by Councilwoman Peterson, seconded by Councilman Koch. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Now we're on to ordinance 212526.
Dan, are you
Okay.
going to take this one?
Yeah, this one is me, and I want to say thanks to Josh Friedman and Zach Delap, the attorneys over at the Library District, for their help on getting this all together in short order. So without reading all the way through the information that is provided to you in the packet, there were a few hurdles and concerns here. The main one being that under the terms of the existing ILA, the city was not allowed to consider annexation until 2032 due to the schedule of bond repayments, and that would have been tied to an accelerated repayment schedule. Both parties decided that it would be beneficial to get rid of that limitation and the accelerated repayment. The other significant hurdle here is with an eye to the distant future, since we're dealing with something like a library and things are growing all the time. The way that the RCW handles the transfer of assets upon annexation creates a future vulnerability to the smaller entities, which we in the district found untenable going forward. So we had to fix that with some artistic contracting. And so what that means is we have an interim agreement that handles joint ownership between now and the period of transfer of full title. And then upon transfer of full title, the city retains a right of first refusal. And the reason that that's so important is not necessarily connected to the two parties here today, but in the event that we annex into the rural partial county library district, it's entirely possible that, you know, with something like a library 50 years down the road, there could be a successor, whether that's a full county library district or something of that nature. And so in that case, by statute, all of the assets of the rural partial county library district, should we annex, those assets being the library and the land, would transfer upward to the full county library district were they the successor. Now, following that, if they were to dissolve, what we needed to do was lock in our ability to then recover that asset and retain the city's ability to continue library services for the citizens. And so that is the second main reason why this ILA amendment is a necessary precursor to annexation. And if anybody has any questions.
Do I have any questions?
Oh, just good catch, Dan. Thank you.
All right. And you are looking for action tonight, correct?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion made by Councilman Cock, seconded by Councilman Henderson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Dan. All right.
So we're good to go on the ballot now, right?
So we are good to go. Right, Kelly?
Yes, there's one more related item, but.
Yes. Well, it's a good one, though. It's a good one. It's okay. We can get through that one.
This one also doesn't keep us off the ballot if we don't get it.
We do still have to submit all
Yes.
of this. Everyone has to sign. We're actually not done yet. That the library district has one more thing tomorrow night. Yes.
We're almost there. But we'll move into new business for tonight. And we're going to go with the, pulled from the consent agenda first, the purchase agreement. Councilman Henderson?
Chief Wagner?
I actually asked him to pull this just so I could better explain this. I brought this up at last council meeting. As you know, in May, we had the head-on collision where an impaired driver totaled one of our ambulances. With that, as we know in the past, it takes up to 2 years sometimes to get a chassis and get one of these built. With a lot of work between Serena over in Kelly's office and Glenn on my side with the insurance companies, we got the approval with your approval to do so at the last meeting to move forward with a remount of that current box that was still in good shape because it was such a newer ambulance to put on a chassis. With that, we needed to procure a chassis. We were fortunate enough to have a chassis already in place down in Chehalis at our ambulance builder that we had already purchased as a city through our ER&R funds that we save up for the years to do so. That build was going to happen in 2027 for over $300 and some thousand. We were able to take that chassis that we currently owned to get this remount started, and it's my understanding that they already have it in line and may start that build as early as this week. So thank you to council for that vote last time. As I said then, we were kind of waiting for the procurement of the next chassis to be able to do our 2027 build. They were able to get one started and ordered. We just need to sign this agreement. It is the exact same cost as the last one, so our concern was, as we normally see major increases and stuff from year to year with the chassis, we had just purchased this one so recently that nothing changed. So the insurance company is sending us a check for the first one to pay for the remount on the insured collision. We are now taking that same money that will go into ER&R and go right back out to another check to pay for the one we really already purchased. So there's no nothing except for a paper trail and some checks changing hands for this purchase, but they need the agreement from us to sign the dotted line to make the purchase on our behalf, if that makes any sense. And since it's over the $30,000 deal, I wanted to have this in new business so that I could explain that. And in the long term, the cost of the insurance, this actually saves us $70,000 because we would have had to pay the prorated version of what they were going to give us as far as the settlement, and it would have came out of our current budget and gets us an ambulance as soon as they start the build, somewhere from 14 to 16 weeks, they're telling us. So instead of 2 years, this is as bad as it was that night, this is a win-win for everybody.
Thank you for all your hard work on that.
Thank you to Glenn and Serena and
Yep.
all of our teams. Thank you.
So we'd be looking for a motion for approval to allow staff to sign an agreement to purchase, how do you say that? Chassis for the ambulance has already been approved by council for purchase.
I will make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion made by Councilman Henderson, seconded by Councilman Lavaca. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. There you go.
Thank you so much, Council.
Thank you. All right. And now we're going to move on to the Resolution 1192, appointment of 4 against committees for library annexation proposition. And I just want to thank Melissa, because it takes a lot for people to come out and actually want to dedicate their time to do things for their community. And thank you so much for stepping up to do that for us. So we did have a 4 in favor, but we were lacking in the against. So, Kelly?
So the city's required with the ballot measure to have a for and against committee. This is kind of also known as pros and cons committees. For the annexation, each committee shall consist of no more than 3 members. However, members can seek guidance from other people as well. So the pro committee would provide a statement to the Skagit County Elections Department in favor of the city's annexation into the library district, and the con committee would provide a statement against the annexation into the library district. The statements are due by August 14th, and then the committees may also have a rebuttal statement, which is due by August 19th. Any person appointed to the committee must reside within Sedro-Woolley city limits and be a registered voter and have an email address to correspond with Skagit County elections. We sent out a notice for seeking volunteers for these committees. Applications were due by the end of day on Friday. We had 1 application, which is included in your packet for Melissa in the audience here. We didn't have anyone apply for the against committee. What happens is Skagit County will look for an against. Dan Curtis reached out to Skagit County just to see for further information on their procedures, because we've if this resolution passes, we'll have appointed 1 person to the for committee. Skagit County would just be looking for 1 person in the against committee.
Councilman Lavaca?
So great too, but I don't see a dissolve date of this committee. I know it's obviously not going to be ongoing, but is there a date to which the committee would be dissolved?
It's only applicable to this ballot measure.
So that would be,
So they have to have everything.
by August 19th is what they're,
Right.
so then after that, it would just dissolve out. And we wouldn't have to go through any kind of cleanup or anything, no?
I'm going to defer to Dan Curtis on that.
That's correct.
Okay, great.
Councilman Cock?
We have to get this out by August 4th. Does the language from any of these committees end up in the voters pamphlet, or is not?
It does.
Oh, it does. So, okay, that makes sense.
They were, well, I'll reach out to to Skagit County again. I believe we just provide some introductory information, but then we submit a form to Skagit County on who our committee member is, and then the county and the committee speak to each other. And then the city is removed from that process.
But if there's nobody who volunteers for the against committee, then there's no statement to put in the voters guide, right?
Correct. They would still include a for statement. But there would be no rebuttal because there would be no against statement to.
Councilwoman
if
Peterson? Oh, go ahead, Dan.
Maybe just to clarify, so because we're appointing just one to the FOR committee, there would be a second round of process where that nomination goes to the county. The county will then attempt to find one person for the against committee. And so if the county is able to find a person for the against committee, then there will be a for and against. If not, then they will just include the statement from the for committee member, and then they will plug in a boilerplate statement that says that they, city and the county did their due diligence to find someone in who is opposed and were unable to do so.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Reviewing this, my only concern was, not having anyone writing against this and maybe looking to see if we could extend the deadline or anything, but it sounds like that process is kind of built in with the county looking for applicants. So I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 1192-26, appointing members to the for and against committees for the ballot measure regarding the city of Sedro-Woolley annexing into the Central Skagit Partial County Library District.
Second.
All right. We have a motion made by Councilwoman Peterson, seconded by Councilman DeYoung. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right. Resolution 119026, police vehicle.
All right, I'll try to make this quick. This one probably could have been on consent agenda, but just there, if you guys have any questions regarding this. Just looking for, it's a first read, but motion to approve Resolution 119026 to surplus these police vehicles and equipment. There are 9 vehicles and 1 trailer to surplus, along with 1 piece of equipment, an alcohol sensor. And I have designated what I plan to do with those things. Surplus, either for sale to auction or for fire department training. That's pretty much the gist of that one.
Do we have any questions? Councilman Lavaca?
Firefighter training is lighting it on fire, and it looks like there's miles on all of them. They're all under 100,000 miles.
The one I have designated for that is one we seize, the Pontiac Vibe. We can consider other ones. If you don't want to use those for fire, some of those are on police vehicles. They're harder to get into, so they're good training to do so. Jaws Alive trying to access that if officers are involved in a collision. We have done one of those before. So that, the 2014 might be one of those ones, or the one that has lots of maintenance, the 2020. I think we're just going to assess what we could potentially get for auction and evaluate that. But the Pontiac Vibe is a seized vehicle, and they'll definitely get that one.
All right. Councilman Henderson?
Yeah, I'd motion to approve Resolution 1190-26, vehicle and equipment surplus.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Henderson, seconded by Councilman Koch. All those in
I
favor
think so.
signify by, oh, I'm sorry, Carl, go ahead.
Alan did what I was going to do. Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, procedure update.
Thank you, ma'am. In the packet, we have updated right-of-way procedures. In transportation projects, when we have, we try really hard to stay within our right-of-way, within our property. Sometimes we do require other property because of the road. We need it wider, we need to add a sidewalk. And sometimes those are temporary construction easements where we're just requesting permission to tie in the, a new sidewalk to the existing lawn. Sometimes those are permanent easements where we request permanent rights to it. And sometimes those are larger pieces of the property or the whole property, as we had at the roundabout with 2 properties. WashDOT requires us to update our right-of-way procedures every 3 years. By and large, these procedures are set by federal and state law. We have made a couple minor updates and clarified some language, but by and large, these are very similar to our previous policies from 2023. WashDOT has reviewed and approved these at the staff level, so the next step is for the city to approve them, and then it goes to WashDOT, or Washington State Department of Transportation, for final approval and signature. My recommendation is to authorize the mayor to execute these right-of-way procedures with any minor corrections as may be required by WashDOT.
Are there any questions? Councilman Henderson?
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Henderson, seconded by Councilwoman Peterson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Change order number 1.
Thank you, ma'am. We have a screw press on order with the wastewater treatment plant, and just really briefly, in our plant, the wastewater goes through a belt press as part of the process, which squeezes out some of the liquid, and then some of the solids get on a belt press, on an incline belt press, and then get dumped into a truck where they're disposed of. We are replacing the belt press that has been previously authorized, but when we were doing some of our initial testing, found that the solids was drier than anticipated and does not work with our conveyor belt anymore. This is a good problem overall to have because it means that we're going to have less trucking cost when we end up disposing them. It does mean that we had a problem with our belt press, is that because they're drier, they tend not to go up the incline belt press. And so we're proposing to have a change order to the manufacturer to introduce a Archimedes screw conveyor. So it has other positives. It'll be on the same warranty, stainless steel, and fewer moving parts. And we think it'll overall save money in the long range from the trucking.
Thank you. I see Councilman DeYoung has a question.
Yeah, Peter, the report identifies Fund 104, which the packet lists as the Arterial Street Fund. Should that reference the Fund 401, which is the Sewer Operations Fund?
Yes, sir. Yes, that was a typo on our part. That should have been 401. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you. With that correction reflected in the record, I'm comfortable with supporting the change order.
I'll second.
And I move the change order.
All right, we have a motion made by Councilman DeYoung, seconded by Councilman Henderson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. And if there is nothing for the good of the order, we'll move into executive session.
Madam Mayor, I had one information-only item, if I
Oh,
may.
yes.
We're going to have an open house for our Public Works projects on August 13th from 6 to 7:30 at the City Hall Council Chambers here. I just wanted to take this opportunity to get the word out. We're going to advertise it on the radio, in the newspaper, Facebook, webpage. But we welcome, we want to hear from people, want to hear comments, questions, and we want to talk about our projects and get the word out a little bit.
What date was that?
August 13th from 6 to 7:30. Oh, and WashDOT will also be here. They'll have a table. They're going to talk about their major project next year for SR20 between Sedro-Woolley and Burlington.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
So we'll move into executive session to discussion with legal counsel about current or potential litigation, RCW 42.30.1101I at 7:49. And how much time did you think that we needed, Dan?
I estimate about 15 minutes.
Okay. What time would that be coming back? 7:50? 8:04 we'll be back.
When are you going to be at the library? July what? It's August?
Hey Sally, are you gonna be around after we get off?
So I can kind of show you what you were asking about John Liner and the trail road thing.
Yeah.
Okay, because they're not the same thing. They're
Okay, we're coming back in. No decisions were made. And I would be looking for a motion to adjourn.
We'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a first and second, 8:05. We're adjourned.